WorldCoin actors, actually the real guys seated where you are last week. And they confirmed to this committee that to this end, there are about 700,000 Kenyans, actually close to 1 million, because the subscriptions or the onboarding on listing is still ongoing online, who's already given out their data to include the 350 plus whose Irish were actually taken. As the Minister of Security, and of course, given even your background in law, you're a law par excellent. We have, within our existing laws, do we have got possible means of retrieving or deleting the data of Kenyans which were already been harvested and stored in what they call the cloud, and actually sent to a place, the WorldCoin Foundation, they say it's in Virgin Island, and they confirm actually to this committee that that data has been already transferred and sent to the foundation in Virgin Island. Within our existing laws, being the Minister of Security and Interior and being a lawyer of international reputation, which means and possible means do we have as a country to retrieve such data? Secondly, taking into account the admission that already this space of cryptocurrency is a very fertile ground to finance the terrorism. Which measures do you think we should put in place to avoid the same? We had the DG from the Center for Finance Center reporting there yesterday, and he had given an example of the very famous guy, crypto player, who sent 300 million to 3 girlfriends in the country. And we only managed to actually forfeit from one recipient. The other 2, they managed to take their money just because the lawyers went around the law, and the government could not really able to have the money forfeited. What do you think the measures that we should put in place to avoid such? And I'm going to give 3 members plus the 2 questions to raise their concern, and we are going to go in that order. And I will start, of course, from the petitioner, Mukunji, then Gideon, Ikana, then we take the other band, starting from my vice. And I will ask members to try to be to the point, because it's already one.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to start by thanking Waziri for quite straight to the point a report that really touches on things that we have been deliberating in this committee for a while. I also want to thank him for being the really first one to come out clearly and condemn that issue and take the necessary steps that he took when the issue came to the attention of the nation. Chair, I was very keen when Waziri was pointing out areas of interest in terms of the law change. And one of the areas, Waziri, that really touches on this is the issue of registration of organizations in this country and their functionality. I know it is not under the Ministry of Interior how companies come here and mine data. And Waziri, one of your recommendations is you being involved in the uptake of companies in that. Please, I would like you to tell the committee clearly on what what department would you like to see getting involved when companies are coming here to do their businesses? Because we have had challenge where a company has come and taken Kenyans for a ride, misused Kenyans, and it has left. We are left investigating. Chair, also, on the same, this country is one of the countries that are able to be really ahead when it comes to take up of issues, internet. We are way ahead of many African countries. There is a very thin balance, Chair, on being very strict with our laws and the appetite the foreign companies have in terms of coming here and setting up business. And that has been very something that has attracted the country to companies such as WorldCoin and the rest to come and try their things in Kenya. I believe you are also the minister in charge of rolling out the Maisha digital card that is coming up. So are we having a double speak on this issue? Because this country also want to have a digital identifier that is strict and uncorruptible, but at the same time, we are chasing out companies that are ahead of us on this. I would like to get that from Waziri. The other question and the last one, Chair, is while the investigations are not yet done, and we know very well we have had a case where this company, as you have said, started mining data way ahead before they even mentioned issues to do with registering in Kenya. Could we not have had already arraigned some in court? Because obviously, even before the conclusion of this investigation, we know already law was broken. Kenyans were misused. Are we still in that part of investigations until the public is not following on this issue keenly? Or are you giving us a guideline that we are going to see hands rolling possibly as soon as today or tomorrow? So I would like to hear that. There is the issue of NC4, which I know your ministry or yourself are part of. Is it effective? And what is the problem with the fact that we are still talking about this, whereas there is a setup that was already in place, a multi-agency that has been working since the act was passed? Chair, I think those are my questions. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Gideon, in that order and to the point, please, so we can accommodate everyone.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Waziri, thank you for your presentation. I have a few questions. The first question I want to ask is, when the data commissioner came here, and even the minister for ICT, they told this committee that the operations of WorldCoin actually started way beyond 2021. That it's not just what we saw, the queues at KICC in August. So my question to Waziri, why did it take very long for your ministry, to tackle this issue of WorldCoin until now when we saw the long queues at KICC? So does it mean if we didn't see the queues at KICC, or if Kenyans had not made noise online, or if the petitioner had not brought the issue at Parliament, so this issue of WorldCoin would have been swept under the carpet? Does it mean somebody at the Interior Ministry was sleeping on his job, maybe the DCI or who was supposed to have told Kenyans these issues. And that takes me to my second question, which my colleague has asked. The Computer Misuse and Cybercrime of TIN establishes a committee called NC4. NC4 brings together the PS Internal Security, the PS ICT, we have the Chief of Kenya Defense Forces, the Attorney General, we have the Inspector General of Police, we have the Director General Communications Authority, Director Public Prosecutions, the Governor Central Bank, and the Director NC4 Secretariat. What is the mandate of NC4? One of the functions of NC4 is to advise the National Security Council on computer and cyber crimes. Number two, to advise the government on security-related aspects, touching on critical information infrastructure and the new and emerging technologies, and they have quoted there blockchain, 5G, AI, and the Internet of Things. Where were these people? Because we are now talking about blockchain, we are talking about WorldCoin. Where was that committee? And to ask the same question my colleague has asked, should we disband that committee? Because even if we are coming up with the new regulations that you've suggested to us here, when the NC4 Secretariat came here, they blamed their bosses. They said they are just the Secretariat, these things we take to our bosses. So does it mean their bosses didn't do their job? Finally, in your statement, your first statement, you've told us these people of WorldCoin, they came here as Tools for Humanity, corporation registered in the United States, and the other one is Tools for Humanity, registered in Germany. You've told us they commenced data collection and processing activities in the country in the guise of offering educational programs on cryptocurrency. These people came here, Alex Blani and the team. They told us they were not supposed to acquire certificates to do business in Kenya because in the Data Commission Act of 2019, they are just supposed to get the permission from the Data Act, and after that, they don't have to get other permissions from the government. I want to ask this Waziri directly. Waziri, are you confirming to this committee that these people were operating in Kenya illegally? And if Chair permits me, maybe I can get a yes or no answer on that.
I think we should just follow the earlier communicated order. You will take the three.
Just that one only?
No, you will let him do the same, okay. Practice. We give the practice. So if you're done, you can do, then he can pick.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. First, allow me to most sincerely thank and congratulate Waziri Professor Kindiki for emerging the top in the latest rankings that we saw in the ministries. Congratulations, Waziri, and your team. To my first question, Waziri, I wish to know the role that your ministry plays in the monitoring of financial inflows and outflows. Because there are indications that these WorldCoin guys might have brought into the country huge amounts to the tune of around 2.5 billion shillings. Did these monies come in undetected? And if you have now commenced any forms of inquiry in establishing the source of these funds. Then finally, is a very brief question. Waziri, are we at war with technology? Thank you.
So Waziri, you can take a question for the three members before we let the other set.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for the members who have raised the supplementary issues and seeking clarifications, including yourself, Chair. I'd like to respond as follows. When the WorldCoin matter became public, the government ordered cessation of all activities relating to this company in terms of collecting data from Kenyans, dealing with it, disposing that data with immediate effect until we get to the bottom of this issue and find out whether the operations are within the law or not. We also went to court through the ICT ministry and obtained court orders against this activity, the continuation of this activity. If the company has come here and admitted that they are continuing with that process, then they're in contempt of court, and they have admitted that they have no regard for the law of Kenya, and that that court order meant nothing to them. If that is the case, I hope it is not. But if that is the case, that is the clearest sign of impunity and disregard for the law of Kenya. And if it is the case, we will deal with it immediately we leave this room. As to the question whether data stored in the manner in which the data we are talking about here is said to be stored can be retrieved, we are getting two conflicting expert opinions, because this is science. It is not black and white matter, it's science, it's scientific thing, so we rely on expert advice. On the one side, most of the science, the experts in this area are saying that actually data, even data in the cloud, can be retrieved and deleted. But there is a different opinion, again from experts in this space, saying even when it is deleted, there is a way that data, once it's in that space, cannot be completely and with certainty be retrieved. So from where we sit, that is the information I have at the moment. I want to be on the cautious side as the Security Minister of Kenya. I would rather side with the possibility that when data enters that space, it cannot be retrieved completely, because that is what would put me on the safe side in terms of going forward. And this would inform the kind of regulations we put in place in terms of who we allow to harvest data, to have it, how they will store it, and where, in what circumstances. I want to side with the minority of the scientists who are saying that it is not possible to retrieve data which has been stored in the cloud. So from where we sit as government, there should be no more registration of people on anything related to WorldCoin and all activities and other companies.
Waziri, why is still at that? You know, you're speaking as the CS, the Minister of Security. but you're still a lawyer par excellence. Within both the local and international laws framework, do you think we stand a chance of maybe forcing the WorldCoin owners to retrieve Kenya's data?
Yes. Yes. But we need to do a lot of work. And Gila's regard, based on the case I made earlier on, 2 points, Chair. One, that data is precious. And two, the nature in which the data in question was harvested is an extreme. It's allowed, yes, but for a foreign entity to choose that method and have access to that data and store it in the method we are talking about, we need to be a bit more rigorous in terms of demanding some levels of accountability. But to answer your question, it is possible. The other question which has been raised is on cryptocurrency and financing of terror. And Chair, you raised the issue of the crypto dealer and the girlfriends. It was possible for the regulatory institutions of the country, in this case the Financial Reporting Center, to detect the money. But it was only possible when that money was converted, or because it's a way in which it found its way into mainstream financial assets of the world, and it left Belgium and came to Kenya into the bank account of the girlfriend. And the challenges are as follows. First, to money in terms of legal tender coming from abroad to a bank in Kenya can be traced, and that's why it was traced. And even the other two, it's only that they had accessed the money. And there could be reason perhaps why that happened, because again the purpose of surveillance on financial inflows and outflows is not to prevent people from running businesses and doing their things. It is to ensure that financial inflows and outflows through our country do not perpetuate money laundering, trade in drugs and psychotropic substances, and terror. Otherwise, it should not be the business. It's against good economic order to have too much surveillance on citizens and who gets how much money. And if that money is not perhaps suspected to be geared towards doing those criminal things, that surveillance should not be overbearing. It would hurt commerce. Now, we are very keen on inflows and outflows of finances to our country for the reasons which we all know. We have been attacked severally in this country, and those attacks could not have succeeded without a financial element somewhere. Differently put, Chair, the engine of terror, what drives terror is money. If you remove finances from terror, the terrorist has no power to achieve the objective. And therefore, my challenge, and I need to be convinced, because this is national debate. This is national debate. The reason we are here is because these are new frontiers. The legal framework is not adequate. There are no hard and fast issues. But I need to be convinced, as the security minister, I need to be convinced that if there are gray areas and we cannot pinpoint the owners of money and how they have made that money at that crypto trade level, until that money finds its way into the financial, the form of financial structures, like the case which we have given of the person who sent actual money, not now crypto tokens or whatever. Actual money was sent to an account in Kenya. That one we can trace. But this other the crypto business and trade, the traceability is a problem. Then, at the risk of being accused of being at war with technology and commerce, I will be reluctant. I will be reluctant to say that that is an area we want to venture into, because the cost, the price of a successful terror attack can wipe away many years and decades of investments in our national security. Then, Chair, I've been asked about the security vetting of companies. And I want to say directly that, especially depending on the type of, all right, let me rephrase my response. At the moment, there is no requirement that foreign nationals who want to do business in Kenya or want to associate with businesses doing in Kenya must necessarily be vetted, although we do it. We sometimes do it when we have reason to believe. But there is no law, and also, as security agencies, we would not want to intrude into commerce unnecessarily and make it difficult for people to do business, because we are a country that has trade relations all over the world, and we're encouraging investments and business, etc. We do it when we suspect, when we have reasonable grounds to suspect these people who wants to register a company could be suspicious characters. But if I were asked, it should be the norm. Because at the moment, even for locals, right now it's very easy to register a business, and that's how it should be, because we are judged by World Bank and other agencies that on ease of doing business, but by how fast someone who wants to do business is able to incorporate the business and start working. But for the people of Kenya, that vetting can continue as they continue doing their business. At the very least, for foreign nationals, I think security vetting must be a priority and a precondition for the relevant permits to be issued. It's good for the country, and we can have a way of expediting that vetting so that it doesn't also take unnecessarily long period of time. And that vetting, because I was asked about which agencies, should be two-pronged. One, the ordinary way of the good conduct by the DCI, but also NIS vetting, which takes into consideration other factors beyond whether or not somebody has committed a crime in the past. Because DCI concentrates on good conduct in terms of whether somebody has a criminal record or not. And so, what has worried me from this interaction with the committee is if there is a possibility that the directors or officials of WorldCoin came here and said that despite the stop orders that I issued and the court orders that were issued, they are in any way dealing with Kenyans and interacting with Kenyans in that space. Let me put it this way, I wish I had gotten that information earlier, because he would not have left the country. In fact,
Just
it
to,
is,
as
it
an
is,
information,
it
okay.
is, it is, it is important to say that I don't like how lightly we want to push commerce and trade ahead of security matters sometimes. And I can share with you that we allowed the WorldCoin officials to enter and leave Kenya after an undertaking by the American government that they will produce them when we need them.
Just as a point of information or clarity on that, I think the matter of ongoing subscription or onboarding is not really the physical one that we're doing in malls or KICC.
Even
it's still online.
We
the
are
app.
clear they should stop all
Yeah.
activities
Yeah.
related to that matter, not just the scanning of iris.
I
Because
was-
if, for example, it is the case that they have violated our laws, what business do they have doing anything else that is lawful?
Chair, just one additional question on that issue, specifically that issue. I have seen in many jurisdictions, Dubai, China, they are able to limit certain ISPs in certain areas. Especially if you go to Dubai, it's very easy. It's not easy to use as something like WhatsApp. Why are you not taking that direction, Bwana Waziri? Thank you.
I'm entertaining the thought, Chair. It's good advice there you've given. I am yet to be convinced that that activity is a safe activity. And the government of Kenya did officially communicate on that matter, and the issue of the officials of WorldCoin, their departure was based on a firm and formal official agreement by the American government that if we require them, they'll produce them.
So Waziri, just on that, to make it is like we are talking about with collaboration with the other government agency, until proven otherwise, we can look ways of deactivating the app within the region until the Kenyan government see the need or the reason of having it ongoing.
Very well. Chair, I've been asked about the NC4, which is the National Computer Coordination Committee. I think by and large that committee has been effective. But part of the reforms that we had started, the reason why that task force I have stated was established was actually to strengthen and place greater accountability on this outfit and see perhaps how else we can firm up the mandate, what they are doing. And as you can see, the mandate that the member led is advisory mandate. It's simply advisory, and for good reason, because cyber security, just like other national security threats, must end up in the National Security Council as part of the architecture of our national security. But I think I will not be in order to say that this organ is not important. It's technical level experts, the CDF, the IG, the heads of agencies that really help us get information that can be escalated to the National Security Council. Now, I'm also not in the blame game thing. In my view, is not the way to go for a country. I think unless where we isolate a particular institution, a particular public official who has through negligence or through commission has done something, let us agree this space is a space which even the most complex economies are struggling with in terms of having a total grip. There have been cyber attacks in some of the most developed and sophisticated countries, perhaps not in the magnitude in which there has been in our space. Yes, one of the members, I think, asked about what this committee was told before by another witness, that the company in question came here and according to them, they were not required to get any permission except being allowed by the data commission to continue with the activities. My understanding is that this company was not providing any services directly within Kenya, and that's something else we need to interrogate even as we look at the oncoming reforms, because the cyberspace is the threats in the cyberspace can actually take place extraterritorially. Somebody doesn't have to come here and set up a shop to harm the people of Kenya through the cyberspace. They can be in Iceland, they can be in South Africa, they can be in any part of the world. So, as to the question whether or not they didn't need any other authorization simply because they were not directly working in Kenya is something that perhaps I don't agree with. But the member has asked me to say yes or no to his question, which was whether they were acting here illegally or not. I am not in a position to give that answer now, but I should be able once the agencies conclude the investigations. Because I will be prejudging, I will be preempting the investigations and passing judgment. And then we have the law, we have the constitution, we have the presumption of innocence. And that's why we have not detained anybody until now. And on the other question, as I go to finish, which was asked about why we have not arresting some people by now, I would just ask for patience so that we do something holistic. I know this country, there is a tendency for the public to be thirsty to see somebody, getting arrested in a dramatic way. And I plead, but this is a sophisticated crime requiring a lot of science. It doesn't help. And I think what the people of Kenya want to hear now is not that somebody has been taken to court for some small misdemeanor or administrative lapse. They want if it is true, there are people who, using the cyberspace, have caused harm or attempted to cause harm on the public safety and security of the people of Kenya. Those bearing the highest responsibility, I would think our target should be on those ones. I think, finally, we are not at war with technology, but we will not allow technology to hurt our country at whatever cost. We will not fight technology, but we will not allow technology to hurt the security and the safety of the people of Kenya at whatever cost, not even through inducement. The fact that the people of Kenya are getting some coins should not be a reason for a government to legitimately allow the exposure of that public, even with their consent, to get harmed. Thank you, Chair.
So thank you so much, Waziri. You're going to take the other round of 3. starting from my vice, Irene Mayaka, Shabir, and Kaluma.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Waziri, for your elaborate earlier presentation, especially on the legal recommendations. First of all, on the issue of disengaging the application.